Hello, fellow nerds. Welcome to the Nerd Emporium's June Extravaganza episode. It is my absolute favorite month of the year. And to celebrate, we've got a packed episode for y'all. So I won't waste too much time with pleasantries, but I will say I made the decision to go to Disneyland earlier this month. It is the happiest place on earth. It is also probably the germiest place on earth. So I did get COVID. That's what I get for trying to be normal for a week. But I'm better. My voice is still a little bit weird, so bear with me. My breath is also still kind of weird, so I'm just gonna try and soldier through it. So just bear with me. I will say that I hope all of you dads out there had a great Father's Day. I hope that you enjoyed the Kenobi finale. That show is so good. Me and Marsha really enjoyed that show. And we're also really looking forward to Ms. Marvel episode 4, because episode 4 on Disney Plus always hits different. So really looking forward to that one. For those who don't know me, my name is Sarah Lydia. You may have seen me on any number of our sister shows here on Nerd Life Network. I'm on Nerdy Girls After Dark, Earth's Mightiest Weirdos, Comics and Cinema, Agents of Field. I haven't been on Babu's frickin' podcast yet, so what the heck, dudes? Get me on that show. But Nerd Life Network is your home podcasting network, not pasta network. Podcasting network for all things nerdy and fandom content related. And you can find a schedule of those shows on our Instagram at Nerd Life Network or on my shop's Instagram page, and that is at the Nerd Emporium on Instagram. And we have Jalen here again. Hi, Jalen. Thank you for tuning in. You are the sweetest of friends. Thank you, friend. Today is a big day for our country. I need to touch on this for just a minute. I know y'all are already sick of my politics, but the Supreme Court just overturned a landmark ruling that put women in charge of their own bodies for the better part of half a century. This in the face of another recent ruling that refuses to protect children in our schools. So I'm not really sure how those two things jive together. The Texas legislature also vetoed a bill that would have provided formulas for babies in Texas. Pro babies, anti babies, I don't know. I've given up, really. So just make sure that this November you're paying attention to your options on the ballot. Really get involved in your local elections. Your voice matters. Your vote matters. Maybe now more than ever. So today we will be talking about love and equality. So, quite a bit, given the month that we're in. But most importantly, we will be talking nerdy with all of our guests on today's show. And that's what you're here for. That's what these episodes are for, getting down and nerdy about all things fan and fandom related. And we give you the best of the comics and collectibles industry, and tonight is no different. It is a collaborative episode in celebration of Pride Month, sponsored by the Nerd Emporium, my little shop that's based right here in San Antonio, Texas. It is a female-owned, female-operated LGBTQ safe zone. It's your one-stop comics and memorabilia shop for all things fandom, film, and fun. So today we are going to be talking a lot about safe spaces. In addition to topics like that, we'll be discussing verifiable nonprofits you can donate your time and money to all year round, not just this month. How you can help combat LGBTQ youth homelessness. We'll talk about queer history within nerd culture, how you can become a better ally to the LGBTQ plus community as a whole. It's going to be a jam-packed episode, so let's get into it. Parents with kids, I always do my best to keep these extravaganza episodes PG, family friendly. We do have a segment at the end of this episode that is a little bit not safe for work. So I would recommend maybe censoring that for your kids. It is related to our Nerdy Girls After Dark podcast. So for reasons you can probably deduce, it's not the best for kids. But it is a really, really fun game that I'm going to be playing with one of my co-hosts, Maya. So don't miss it. It is hilarious. And just a gentle reminder for those watching that this is a safe space. So if you're going to interact in the comments and engage with me and other folks commenting, just remember it's a safe space. So respect each other. That's all it's about, really. And just a gentle reminder also that pro-LGBTQ plus does not mean anti-family or anti-Christian or anti-anything, really, except maybe anti-hate. So, yeah. So let's get the show on the road. Last time we had technical difficulties, but y'all stuck through it, and I really appreciate that. If it happens again, fingers crossed that it won't. Just bear with us, and we'll see you through on the other side. And we have a really fun giveaway for those who bear with me. So, okay, if y'all are ready, because I sure am, we are going to kick things off with a classic. You know her from the last 3 episodes. For those of you who don't know her, her name is Marsha Lee. She is my sweet mother. She is a classy, nerdy lady who always has an opinion about Marvel content, and it's usually always hilarious. So, without any further ado, I give you the first part of today's episode, which is Hot Takes with Marsha. Let me pull it up here. And here we go. Okay.
How did that happen?
I don't know. Is that clean?
You know, I did scrub it when we got home
Okay.
with Lysol and hand sanitizer and everything in the utility sink.
I don't know if I'm ready to do this.
It was your idea, not mine.
Yeah, I know. Can you tell me what's on my face? I'll just have a dot on my face. It's okay. Thank you. All right. My voice is still weird. I gotta put on my glasses before I put on my headphones.
Yeah, I would think so.
How long do you have to spend with us today?
5 minutes.
Well, hello, everybody. I am here with the one and only Marsha Lee. I am Sarah Lydia. I am your host. Why are you already raising your eyebrow at me?
Aren't you a hostess?
Oh my gosh, that's so outdated. So, Marsha, how are you?
Good.
How are you feeling?
Fine.
How's your little foot?
About the same.
So what would you like to start with? We have a lot to talk about. If I can draw your attention to the screen there, Marsha.
Yeah, it's getting bad reviews.
Is it really?
Well, it's not getting, I would have thought it would have been more positive.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a really good show. It's done really well.
I do too. I don't know. I love it.
I know it's very good. I'm glad they brought back Ewan McGregor, and that was good to see him in the original role.
And Hayden.
Although we haven't really seen him yet.
Very briefly, but I think that is him. I did like this moment.
Yeah, that little girl is really a good actress.
Yeah. That's where he was talking to her about her mommy.
Said she looked like her mommy.
Yes. She reminded him of
And he wished
Padme.
that he was her dad.
Yeah, and you know what? Owen, my nephew, and I were talking about that line a lot at Disneyland. And Owen had a good thought, because I was thinking, like, did he say that? Because he really does, like, wish that he'd made a move on Padme. I didn't know. Owen said that he was being compassionate because he knows who her real father is.
Mm-hmm. Probably so.
But I like the show.
Yeah,
I think the show is
it's
great.
very good.
We did get some new character posters for Thor Love and Thunder, which comes out, I guess, in a couple of weeks by the time this comes out. So let's take a look. I know we'll have already seen these by then, but I want to get your reaction to them. So I know you've already seen Valkyrie.
Yes.
She's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
That's Tessa Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
She looks very fit. And so does Natalie Portman, who put on so much muscle for this role. Jane Foster.
Yeah, not really.
What? No, okay, this is one of my favorites.
Who's that supposed to be?
That's Russell Crowe.
Who's he supposed to be?
Zeus. Are you indifferent?
Yeah.
It'll
be interesting. It'll be interesting to see his
Do you like
role
Russell
on the
Crowe?
screen. There's not a lot he's done that I like.
You like Gladiator, though, don't you?
Yeah, that was a good movie.
And then there's this guy. You know who that is?
No.
It's one of your favorite Batmans.
Oh,
Christian.
Yeah, Christian Bale.
Yes.
Now, who's he portraying?
He's a bad guy.
Yeah, who is he portraying?
He's Gore the God Butcher.
Oh.
What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. I hope they don't kill Thor off now.
Do you think he can handle?
I don't know. They're killing off Iron Man. They killed off Black Widow. Who else?
But I don't know. I think his muscles should be a little bigger.
Well, they're pretty large there. And they got the long hair back.
Yeah. You excited about the long hair?
Mm-hmm. I never got into wrestlers and stuff.
You didn't like his Speaking of new things, you and I just watched this last night. Ms. Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think?
I thought it was written more for juveniles.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's not really an adult.
It's very Disney Channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in that case, I'm not a real big fan of it.
Don't you feel like you want to know a little bit more about her, though, before you see her in the next Captain Marvel movie?
Doing it like cartoon stuff and flashing stuff, different stuff on the screen.
You don't like the flashing stuff? You didn't think it was creative?
No. It was just juvenile.
That's a hot take.
Mm-hmm.
We did get this great moment in the show where they finally pay homage to Natasha. You know, so far we've seen, like in Far From Home, we've seen the murals to Tony, and Tony got a funeral. We haven't seen a whole lot to Natasha. Ms. Marvel finally gave her some credit where credit is due. I mean, Hawkeye did too, but that came a little late. But I liked that they did this mural. What did you think, Marcia?
Mm-hmm. I thought it was nice.
Speaking of Natasha, I finally got to hang out with Natasha at Avengers Campus. There we are, just joking with each other like old pals. Where were you, Marcia?
I was probably in the other park.
Marcia was out gallivanting with the babies, and I was gallivanting with the Avengers. America Chavez. We talked a little bit last night about She-Hulk, and it sounds like you're willing to give She-Hulk a chance.
It does.
Okay. I heard somebody say recently that the MCU ended with Endgame. For them personally, the MCU ended with Endgame. Do you think that's how you feel too?
Yes.
I feel that way a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Father's Day is coming up, and there's the best dad in the MCU right there. This is so sad. Phase 4.
It is. It's like they fell apart.
Phase 4 is the depressing.
It's like the
MCU
Avengers
phase.
fell apart.
Yep. Oh, well, on that joyful note.
Yes.
Is there anything that you would like to say to your fans? Any closing thoughts?
Just keep it alive, so to speak.
Keep love alive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, all righty. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Marcia. I love your dress.
Thank you.
It's a pretty dress. Do you want to show us the back of it?
No.
Oh,
I'm good.
okay. Well, the back is really pretty.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much, Marcia. Will we see you next month?
Well, I don't know.
July?
Never know.
You're going to want to talk about Thor.
Maybe. I just hope they don't blow it.
We have a very important update.
Okay.
We, Marcia and myself, are in Dallas at the Fan Expo, and Marcia just made a new friend. Marcia,
Yes.
why don't you take it away? Why don't you tell your fans what just happened?
Well, Sarah wanted to have a photo signing with Sean Astin from The Hobbits. He plays Sam.
Yes. And the movie is
Lord of the Rings.
There you go. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. They talked for like at least 3 minutes. They were just talking. It was kind of cute.
Well, I was explaining to him, Sean Astin, that I was a huge fan of his mom's TV show when I was a teenager. She was 8 years older than me, and she played a teenager in the Patty Duke show.
And she was Patty Duke?
Yes. And I told him how much I had liked the show, and I liked her. I wouldn't say I idolized her, but she was definitely a favorite star.
Really?
Of mine.
See, I didn't know any of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he put his hand up to the glass.
Oh, I also told him that the older he gets, the more he looks like his mom.
Yes.
And he thanked me for saying that. And he is continuing her work with the mental health
That's
issues.
Good. That's important.
It is. And he thanked me for mentioning his mom to him.
Yes. He put his hand up to the glass, and Marcia put her hand up to the glass, and he said, thank you for, what did he say? Thank you for letting me talk about my mom.
Mm-hmm.
It made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
It made me happy to talk about my mom.
Yeah.
That was so cute. Yeah. So what has your experience been here so far? We've been here a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
We've got
it's crowded.
It is. There's so many people.
You could get knocked over real easily.
Yes. Marcia is still in her boot.
Yes.
So trying to work with that.
One thing positive, there are hand sanitizers all over the place.
Yes.
Some are empty, but some are not.
Well, any other updates?
I don't think so.
Were we going to talk about? We did watch another episode of Ms. Marvel and Kenobi. Oh, rest in peace, Tala. Oh, I wasn't sure if she was going to end up being on our side or not. And then
she gave her life.
She was. And Ms. Marvel.
What about her?
You like it more than you're letting on.
The mother's pretty funny.
Yes, she's. Mm-hmm.
But it's still so juvenile.
It's like Disney.
It's like for 10, 11, 12-year-olds.
Yeah, well, I mean, and 34-year-olds.
And hopefully, since our washing machine is now fixed, your dad will have all the laundry done when we get home tomorrow.
Ooh, doubtful, but
no,
hopeful.
I'm looking forward to seeing it all done.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and happy Father's Day to all the dads tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we miss our fathers who have gone on before us. But look forward to seeing them again another day.
Mm-hmm. That was nice, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. God bless Marsha. She is such a sweet human being. That interaction between her and Sean Astin was really, really sweet. I wish y'all could have been there. I should have been videoing it. What is wrong with me? Why don't I do these things? Anyway, the next segment is an absolute treat. I won't spoil anything other than to say I have known this guy for, I'm going to say it, almost 20 years, which is crazy to me. He's one of the kindest, funniest, smartest, cutest people on the planet. He's literally right now singing with the New York City Gay Men's Chorus in Times Square in celebration of Pride Month as we speak. Perfect timing. Can't make this up. Anyway, in the interview, we talk about a few different nonprofits like the Marsha P. Johnson Institute, the Sylvia Rivera Law Project, the Stonewall Community Foundation, the Matthew Shepard Foundation. These are all still around today, and you can still make tax-deductible donations all year long to these organizations, not just during Pride Month. I'm emphasizing that because it is so important to keep these places going because of the work they do. It's so important to keep them going all year long. So every dollar counts, every penny counts. If you can spare one, throw some change their way, especially the Marsha P. Johnson Institute and the Sylvia Rivera Law Project. They do really important work with the trans community. So I won't talk your ear off anymore, though I could. So here we go. Here is my my interview with Mr. Trevor Chauvin. Hello, everybody. This is Trevor Chauvin.
Hello.
Hi, Trevor. We've known each other for
years.
Is it almost? Oh my gosh, that's insane. Okay. Ooh, forget I said that.
It's forgotten.
Okay, good. Trevor is with us today. He's one of my best friends, but he's also, I guess, an expert, would you say now, with all the research you've done?
Pretty close. I mean, I don't have no PhD or anything, but
you've done a ton of research, which is all PhDs do. Yes.
So,
yeah, Dr. Chauvin. I'm giving you an honorary doctorate right now.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. He is going to, your pronouns, he, him, him, right? Okay.
Yeah.
He is going to tell us a little bit about himself, about what makes him a nerd, and then he's going to tell us what we need to know, the top 5 things we need to know about queer history during this beautiful, colorful Pride Month we have going on here. Yes. So tell me a little bit about you, Trevor. How are you, first of all?
I am well, busy, living the most vibrant gay life I can possibly live.
Love it.
You know, Pride is a busy month, especially when you're gay like me.
How is my nephew and how is my brother-in-law?
Oh, nephew is slipping on the sofa right now, little Gumbo. He's great.
Good.
He's chilled out in his old age of 2.
Oh,
which is lovely. But I mean, the daycare lady still says that she's never seen a pug that goes as hard as Gumbo does. So he's still a bundle of energy. And Andrew is great. He's working hard. He goes to the office every Tuesday, Thursday in Connecticut, which is, you know.
That's a commute.
Yeah. So, but, you know, you win some, you lose some. You got to do what you got to do. And he really likes his job and he seems to be happy. So
that's good. And y'all are still in NYC, right?
We are. We live in Long Island City in Queens now, which is great. We've got this beautiful apartment, rent stabilized. Who could ask for anything more?
Yay! Yeah, and it's where Spider-Man is from. So
True.
there you go. Okay. Well, so speaking of Spider-Man, what would you say makes you a nerd?
What makes me a nerd is musical theater.
Yeah.
I'm just a big old nerdy musical theater kid. I worked on Broadway for a while in advertising, and it's consumed my life since probably about 10 years old, and I'm 35 this November. So it's been a long time. So really, if I'm an expert in anything, it's musical theater, but I'm in a Broadway house at least 3 to 4 times a month, at least.
Which is appropriate because that's how we met, was in theater.
Yeah.
And the only thing you would ever talk about was how you would one day live in New York and work in the theater industry. And
Ta-da.
gay magic, here you are.
Ta-da.
Key change.
You know, the pandemic sort of made things kind of rough.
Yeah.
I have since left the industry, which was a big bummer, but I brought Broadway back as
That's
a
amazing.
project manager working at the ad agency that I was at, and went to a Tony's party for Moulin Rouge, and I went to the Tonys this year, and
Dream. Living the dream.
ask for anything more. I'm not kidding when I say who could ask for anything more. Anything more. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, and I'm very proud of you for just going for it and doing it and putting in the work.
Amen,
and
sister.
doing it. It's very amazing. It's really cool to watch, especially down here in little San Antonio. So we are all very proud of you.
It's a good place to call home, but New York has certainly allowed me to be my authentic self in a way I never thought possible. So I'm happy to be here. I'm very proud of myself.
As
Lord, it's been a broken road, let me tell you.
Little Rascal Flats there.
Yeah.
There's your San Antonio. There it is.
That's right.
There it is. Well, so I've at this point when this airs, I will probably have talked about this a few times, but I just got over COVID, so I probably will be sniffly. So please bear with me. I got through it. We're good. We're good. I've got some sniffles, but it's okay. We're good.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. COVID sucks, from what I've heard.
Yes, it is the worst. Yeah, you are apparently Superman living up there and still being healthy. I don't understand.
I had the OG strain.
Okay.
Back in March 2020, we were just like chilling in the office. Like, can you taste? I can't taste. What a weird cold we all have. All like sharing it at our desks. But our office was in Times Square, so
that'll do it. That'll do it.
Therapy later.
Oh my God. God bless our therapists, especially these last 2 years. Oh man.
Oh my God. I hope they have good therapists.
I know. Oh my gosh, that's so sad to think about. I hope they do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
God.
So, okay. Well, do you want to get into it? Oh, also, Trevor is one of my few Lord of the Rings buddies. So,
hell yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Have you seen? Hold on. I have to show you this real quick. I need to get your hot take. I'm about to show you something. Okay. It is an image. You might have already seen it, but it's been released by the Amazon series Lord of the Rings on Prime. And IGN posted about it. So here it is. We got our first look at the orcs.
Oh, this is an orc.
It's an orc.
That's a scary mother.
Aren't they so scary?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Oh my God. They're scary.
They're scary.
I love it.
The teeth, the rotten teeth.
It's the Night Riders, the Dark Riders, the Wraiths.
The Wraiths. Knight Rider was a great TV show.
Correct. It actually was. That
It
was. A
was.
TV
It was.
show. Are like the scariest villains to me. I just
No faces.
terrifying.
Can't do it.
Even scarier in the books. Ugh.
Scared. They crawl. They
Ugh.
crawl quickly in the
Ugh.
like spiders.
Gave me goosebumps.
Oh, Tolkien knew what he was doing. Oh, ooh, I just got goosebumps. Ugh.
Yeah, they're scary. Gross.
So let's get into it. We have established that you are a nerd. So welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit? I would like to hear your perspective to people who maybe are listening to this show because they're fellow nerds, but maybe don't know an in-depth history of the queer story here in America and the world. What would you tell people are the top 5 things that everyone should know about queer history?
It is hard to boil it down because I am so
I know.
passionate about queer history, but let's all assume that everyone listening is. Oh no, you froze. Am I still talking?
Yes, you're talking.
Okay, now we're back.
Okay, good.
Let's all assume that everyone knows about Stonewall. If you don't know about Stonewall,
Google it.
Yep, immediately.
Yes.
I think that the most surprising things that I've learned in the last few years in my research is, one, how much is not taught in schools.
Mm-hmm.
One, Stonewall, if mentioned at all, was barely mentioned. We learn about the lunch counter sit-ins. We learn about the Rosa Parks and the bus boycott. We learn about all of these things about the fight for race equity, but we don't learn anything about the gay liberation movement. So there's a lot. But if I had to boil it down, I think that the most important takeaways is that the fight for gay rights started long before Stonewall.
Mm-hmm.
And that in America, we can consider that the start of the gay rights movement was really started in LA, in California, in about 1959. The first uprising, the first gay liberation uprising can be considered in 1959. It was the Cooper Donuts riot. And this small uprising happened in response to police harassment of LGBTQ people that happened at this 24-hour donut place. So hustlers and trans women, primarily of color, and gay men and some lesbians hung out at this 24-hour place that was near queer-friendly bars and hangouts. And police would often, as they do, abuse and
harass,
thank you, LGBTQ people that were hanging out at this place. So in 1959, there was a riot that happened. It's so undocumented that we're not sure of the date. We just know that there was a small uprising against the police cruelty that was happening at that time. And that's really what started the ball rolling in these uprisings. Mm-hmm. The Compton's cafeteria riot happened in 1966. Another outside of New York and Stonewall uprising. So I think it's important to understand that this was not just in New York City. This was nationwide. This was globally. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that is really important. The second event that I think is really important is that in 1966 in New York City, the Madison Society, which is a gay men's group that was founded, I don't remember the date, earlier than 1966. They were very strategic in how they were protesting. They mm-hmm. wanted to, kind of to the detriment of their own community, they wanted to assimilate to culture, to society as best as possible. They mm-hmm. wanted to show society as that gay people were just like everyone else. We dressed nice, we had office jobs, we were successful, which sort of ostracized sex workers, trans people. But I digress. So in 1966, the Madison Society led the Sip-In at Julia's. similar and inspired by the lunch counter sit-ins in the fight for race equality. They went to Julius Bar, which is still in operation today. They sat at the counter, made sure to let the bartender know that they were homosexuals, and were denied service. This was a planned event, so they made sure that the Times was there to document it. And this allowed them to sue the city and eventually the state to allow for, one, gay spaces to be legally allowed to exist, and two, to outlaw the discrimination that gay people were experiencing at the time. So that's two. Then we've got the Stonewall riots.
What's that?
Then we have the Stonewall riots.
Yes. Was that 69?
That was Stonewall riots were 69. Yeah.
Okay. So this is all what you just said. This is all leading up to Stonewall. Okay.
Yeah. So this was a couple decades before, and then 66, the sit-in happened, which really primed the pump for Stonewall. It was in people's minds. We're talking about queer spaces. We're talking about alcohol service. We're talking about who owns these bars. The mob actually owned a lot of queer spaces because they were paying off cops. It was very complicated. So Stonewall happens. I guess I'll give this number 3. Stonewall happened in 1969. A butch drag queen named Stormy DeLavier is considered to have kicked off the riots. Not misconceptions about Stonewall. Marsha P. Johnson, as incredible as she is, did not throw the first brick. There were no bricks thrown at Stonewall. So Stormy DeLavier was in drag. She was in male presenting drag at the time. It was against the law to be wearing a certain percentage of clothing of the opposite gender. So
I would have been in jail. High school me would have been in jail.
I mean, the amount of times I've been in drag, I think I still have a long sleeve t-shirt that you gave me. It like hugs my hips just lovely.
Oh.
Anyway.
I'm so honored.
Big. Anyway. Jail. So the police would do genitalia checks. And if you were wearing male clothing, female clothing, you were arrested.
Just blows my mind. That is just, wow. Constitution.
And the fact that we're dealing with these trans issues now of like and sports, and it's anyway, I'm getting upset. So she was arrested, and she shouted out that night during the riot, "Why aren't you doing something?" It ignited the crowd. They started to fight back. About 2 hours, an hour and a half into the riot, Marsha showed up. She heard that there were rumbles downtown. She showed up. The bar was already on fire by then. These are in her own words in an interview that she's given. And the riots lasted for a few nights. So that's where we get this stone or brick throwing tale. The crowd threw money at the cops because they were being paid off by the mob, and trash cans and whatever they found in the streets. So this like brick thing is not true. And this like white cis people thing is not true. These are all queer people of color, sex workers, trans women. That's what we owe the Stonewall riots to. So the Stonewall riots, I think that's number 3. Number 4 would probably be Barbara Giddings and Frank Kameny in the 70s. Frank Kameny worked for the U.S. government. He was some sort of scientist. I don't recall what kind of scientist, but it came out that he was gay and he was fired. He dedicated his life to fighting for the cause. He teamed up with a lesbian named Barbara Giddings, and together they fought to get the American Psychiatric Association to remove homosexuality as a list in the list of mental illnesses. So they achieved it in 1973, which was a huge step in the fight for equal rights and employment equality. So we have a lot to give them.
I got chills. Yep.
I know, it's remarkable.
Mhm.
And then it kind of gets into the modern day. We talk about Larry Kramer. We talk about the AIDS crisis. We talk about same-sex marriage. And I think a lot of people are aware of these sort of things. But I think something that is forgotten is in 2009, the Matthew Shepard Act was passed. And
That wasn't that long ago.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And this measure expands the federal hate crime law to include crimes that are motivated by perceived gender, sexuality, gender identity, or disability. So it's really important.
Or disability. That is insane to me.
Yeah, it is really, really insane. And the unfortunate thing is that there are holes in this law that allow for gay panic and trans panic to be used in court, which means that an assaulter can use the defense that they lost their mind in a panic and attacked a trans or homosexual person because of sexual advances. So that's still used in court today.
Which is so homophobic. It's so homophobic. It is just...
I can't believe that it's still...
and it's a legal defense.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And it gets people off with much, much easier sentences.
Yep. It's a problem.
And in 2010, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. In 2015, same-sex marriage was appealed. And in 2020, the Trump administration starts to roll back trans rights. And here we are in this show that we're in today.
Yep. Yeah, we're still waiting for the Equality Act to pass. So
right. Hello.
It's how long has it been? I love that you pointed out that we do owe a lot to trans women of color. Not just in our history, but even today, a lot of the lingo that is used in the gay community is all it's all people of color. We're stealing words. So you got to give credit where credit is due. So I'm glad you did that.
And I could go on about ball culture and drag and it's Black women and trans people of color that we get all of our quips and terminology and slang. And it goes from women of color and trans women of color to gay men to the straight
society. Yep. It's it needs to be talked about, and I'm glad that we're talking about it. That's where it starts, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, well that was lovely. Now you have been dealing with a crisis. Would you like to tell the people where they can find you on the Insta now?
Yes. You can reach me at Trevor Chauvin. That's spelled phonetically TREVORSHOWVAN on Insta and Venmo. But my Instagram, somebody reported my story and my Instagram is under investigation. So if you put an underscore in between my first and last name, that is my backup account should I go the way of
belly up.
Yeah. What a shame.
That's so it's during Pride Month. Somebody reported your account for all your Pride content?
No.
What are they doing following you?
They reported I shared a memory of me at SeaWorld, and they reported that.
Oh my gosh, that's so silly.
Anyway, and you can find me on TikTok at the Pride Fairy.
Ooh, I haven't gotten into TikTok yet.
Well, old lady, get on it.
I know. I don't understand it. I feel very old.
You just scroll and scroll and scroll, and the algorithm will pin you as a nerd immediately.
Okay. See, no one sold it to me like that before.
Oh,
That
I could spend hours. It's like
okay.
thirst trap videos of guys with big butts, some cosplay, some musical theater,
Okay.
and then just like, you know, women
Random.
fighting outside of bars.
Oh, okay.
You know,
That
it's a
sounds
good time.
adventurous, honestly.
It is.
That's a good mix.
That's my algorithm. God only
You
knows what yours will come up with.
you have a nice palette. It's expansive.
Thank you.
Nobody's gonna box you in.
That's right.
That's amazing.
That's right.
All right, Boo. Well, thank you so much for hanging out.
Of course. It's lovely to see your face.
I know, it's so good to see your face.
Bye.
That was my high school best friend, Trevor Chauvin. He is right now singing with the New York City Gay Men's Chorus in Times Square right now in celebration of Pride Month, which is just amazing timing, in my opinion. But up next, we've got an incredible interview with an ally and just a generally interesting dude. His name is Mr. Kalen Hoffman of Prop Customs. That's his small business where he makes like actual movie props. These gorgeous, crafted, homemade movie props. I just ordered something from him. I won't spoil it, but y'all are about to see it. And it's gorgeous. His stuff is awesome. His kids are so cute. So without any more fanfare, here is my interview with Mr. Kalen Hoffman. So, Kalen, do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are and your sweet little family here?
Yeah, my name is Kalen Hoffman. I have a small business called Prop Customs. I make like handmade props and costumes. I don't use any 3D printing. It's all done the old method by, hand sculpting or hand fabricating props and objects from typically pop culture or video games. I'm a father of two, Nell and Ezra, 5 and 2, well, almost 2 years old, and a husband to Katie, who I love very much. And that's why I do this full time for a living. So that's what I get to do.
Nice.
That's awesome.
To put food on the table is what I love. So I can't complain about that at all.
That's so excellent. And you get to go. I mean, I don't know if you have been recently because of COVID, but in the past you've been going to cons and shows. Do you have any shows coming up on the calendar that you're going to be at?
Yeah. The 7th through the 10th, we will be at Chicago at Fan Expo.
Oh, nice. Okay. Is that C2E2 or that's separate?
No. So
Okay.
C2E2, I believe, is in, I want to say October or November or December. I forget when it is, but we are hopefully, it actually may be August. I don't know. I don't have my calendar.
I think it's
August. Yeah, you're probably right. But we will be at C2E2 as well, hopefully.
Ooh.
But yeah, typically pre-COVID, we would travel around to different cities in the U.S. and, I would basically sell my artwork. And it's awesome. I get to see new cities and travel around and meet lots of cool people who have common interests as me. And they support my artwork by buying it. And like I said, there's how much cooler than that does it get?
Yeah, that's cool. Oprah has said, do what you have to do till you can do what you want to do. And
Yeah.
I hope to get to that place one day. It sounds like you're already there, which is awesome.
Did this start out as a hobby that ended up just kind of growing, and then you just ended up quitting a 9-to-5 banker job and then end up doing this full time, or have you always done this, or what's your background like?
So I'm pretty lucky to live in the time that I live in, because go back 15 years ago or so, pop culture and like Comic-Cons were not nearly what they were today. So I'm lucky to live in the time that I do because I've always loved making things ever since I was a little kid. Art class was my favorite. I always got in trouble during regular classes because I would be doodling or sculpting things out of. I actually figured out when I was in 3rd grade that if I took Elmer's glue, I tell this story all the time. If I took Elmer's glue and like poured it in my hand and rubbed my hands together, eventually it would like clump up and make this like clay, and I would sculpt little characters, and they would harden into like a little like a hard sculpture. And I would get in trouble for doing things like that when I was supposed to be paying attention in class. So I've always loved creating. It's just kind of for the past, I think about 8 years, I've done it full time. And it's just kind of like figuring out how I can do that, to support my family, because while I love doing it, if I want to do it for a living, I do have to make money at it. So figuring out how to do that, it's kind of tricky. But luckily, again, I live in a time where Etsy is a thing. So Etsy is really good for like online consistent sales. And then as we talked about earlier, going around to conventions is super fun, and also really good for what I do, because it gives people a chance to see my artwork in person, which is always a lot cooler than just seeing it on a computer screen.
And networking too, probably.
What's that?
And networking too, probably.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And also right now in the age of where marketing is essentially free. I mean, with Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, I mean, there's so many outlets that you're able to put your work out there, and it doesn't cost you anything except time. So Yep. I unfortunately, that is a place where I struggle, because I am not a social media person. So I need to get better at that, because it is part of my job. But I'm just like when I'm working, I'm in the zone. I'm just kind of doing that. I'm not like I'm really bad about stopping and taking pictures when I should be. Because I should be doing it. But I just kind of like I like to do what I do, and I just need to be better about posting it.
That's where I found you. I found you on Instagram. I don't even remember what I was doing. I think I was just scrolling through some of the like hashtags that you can follow. And I found this picture and this picture, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I saw that it was you that was making them. And I was just, I was flabbergasted. I should have bought one a year ago when I first saw it. So I was late on the bandwagon, and then I saw this one. This is beautiful. The helmet. Oh my gosh.
Those were all signed pieces. And the Chris Hemsworth signed Stormbreaker axes were signed by him in Chicago. Pre-COVID, so it was a couple of years ago. I had a few of them signed, and I'm just kind of slowly going through them. And then the Josh Brolin's the Thanos, I call it my Go for the Head edition Thanos axe or Stormbreaker axe. That was signed by Brolin in Seattle pre-COVID as well. And then the helmet was signed by Evans in Boston. We actually drove. So Chris Evans had a private signing up in Boston of April last year. And instead of like shipping all of our things there, me and my booth mate, who I share a booth with, he makes really cool Captain America shields. We were like, you know what, let's just drive there. And so we actually just got in the car and drove all the way to Boston just to have him sign some things of ours, and came back.
That's awesome. I think that's when I got my shield signed. It was April of 2021.
Yep. That was the one.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh
was the Hemsworth and Brolin, were they public or were they private?
So they were actually done at a show. So they were so whenever I'm at a show, I'm working. So I can't like go and stand in line. So what they have vendors do, like if you purchase a booth at the show, you're basically allowed to purchase signatures. And so what we did is we did that. And what they do is they put all that stuff in a room, and then they just have the actor go back and basically sign everything whenever they have like a few hours of free time in between signings and autograph or pictures and all that stuff.
Well, that's nice. That's super convenient.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
one of the pictures you had on your Instagram was Lou Ferrigno holding Stormbreaker.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Is that the one I bought?
That it is. Yeah. Well, not
Oh, is
that.
it really?
That one's hanging in his house.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that's the same model. So with most of my work, what I'll do is I will fabricate. So the Stormbreaker, for example, I fabricated the axe head, the hammer head, and then the middle
Yes.
part. And then out of clay, I sculpted. Yep. So that's the drawings.
Yeah.
Out of clay, I sculpted the handle, like what would be the Groot arm.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
And then I take what's called a mold of those. They're called the masterpieces. And basically what it is that's the shape that the finished product is going to be. I take a mold of that, and that's where I basically cover it in silicone. And the Stormbreaker comes in 4 pieces. Once these silicone molds are cured, I take the masterpiece out, and what you're left with is a negative shape of the piece. And then with the Stormbreaker, I fill those pieces with resin, and then the handle has a steel bar that goes through the whole handle, and it's threaded in the middle so you can take it apart. And the whole thing weighs about 20 pounds. It's about 3 feet long, and it's that 20 pounds is like it's solid resin cast.
Resin. Yeah.
Yep. So it's they're pretty expensive to make, but they're pretty cool. Everybody always expects them to be like a cosplay piece, and then
Like
I put it in their hands, and it weighs their hand down.
Then they realize that they don't want to lug that thing around for an entire weekend.
Yep. Well, so and I had thought about that because I can cast them hollow, but I wanted it to be a substantial collector's piece. I wanted it to I wanted it to feel real.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that. That's really cool. So can you tell us a little bit? I know you've done some like character sculpting. Obviously, we're going to talk about Groot in a little bit, but I noticed your new Yoda post with the little flocking on his head. It's so cute.
Yeah.
But so like, so you're a painter then also, right? Do you paint this?
Yeah. So everything that I post on my page is all done by me. So I don't do any outsourcing or contracting or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
All of my work is my own. As I said, I don't use any 3D printing. It's all hand sculpted out of clay, and then molded, cast, and painted by me. The Grogu, he was actually his face is cast with I use a semi-translucent resin, and I mixed the colors. It took me a while to get the color right. And what I do is I have a very specific amount that I have to measure out to get the color right in each one. I mean, obviously it's handmade, so there's going to be variances in each one, but I do what's called the light test. And that's where when I pull one out of the mold, I will hold it up to a light. And if I can't see the light through his ears, I throw that one away, because in the movie, skin and like membrane is when it's thin like that, you can see light through it. So that's like the test I always kind of do to make sure the color's good and not too opaque.
Yeah, I mean it looks amazing.
Yeah, and Star Wars fans are not very forgiving.
No,
so, yeah, if you didn't get that color right, then they're gonna let you know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but the ones you throw away, I have a really big trash can in my house. If you just wanted to send them here, then I can throw them away for you.
Send them your way.
Yeah.
Anthony is one of our resident horror guys. He loves films and everything like that. And so your horror stuff kind of caught our eye. Anthony, do you want to ask about that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What prompted you to take the cutest creatures that Star Wars and Marvel have given us and then make them look like they just walked out of, Dawn of the Dead?
Well, in a phrase, it's fun. But so my wife actually asked me, she's always like, why do you zombify everything? And I just say, because it's cool. I like the zombie genre. I know it's kind of like overdone, and you see a lot of it out there. But it also, whenever I'm creating pieces that already exist, I have to stay in the confines of that piece. So like when I'm sculpting Groot, it has to look like Groot, otherwise it's not Groot.
Yeah.
But whenever I do pieces like that, it's fun to zombify them because it gives me creative freedom to kind of make each one unique.
Mm-hmm.
And so the zombie ones that I make for that Grogu, for example, basically I casted a regular head, but I cast it with like a little more grayish color.
Mm-hmm.
And then I take a Dremel to it and I actually carve into it. And I basically just carve whatever I'm going to do to that particular one in each piece. So each one is one of a kind. So there's never going to be any two zombies that are the same. And I've done, there was one Groot I did. It was one of the full-size Groots like that, the little 9.5-inch tall one. And I dremeled one of his eyes out, and as well as the his kind of what would be his brain cavity. And I took a bunch of I sculpted a bunch of maggots that were coming out of it. And that one I took it to had made it like just to take to a show, and I think it sold within the first hour of the show being open.
Oh, nice.
It was, yeah, that one was super popular. I should have taken pictures of it, but as I mentioned earlier, I can be pretty bad about that.
Well, that's really neat. And zombies are about to, I think we're going to get a renaissance once the Marvel Zombies show comes out. When is that supposed to come out? Anthony, do you know?
If it's anything like What If, I don't care when it comes out.
Anthony did not like What If.
Yeah,
I did.
I didn't watch those, but I tell you what, I don't know if you saw the new Doctor Strange movie.
Yes.
Whenever he was the zombie Doctor Strange, and he had kind of like the nightmare powers, I thought that part was just so cool. How he twitched whenever he was like he would talk.
Yes. Ooh, like the nerves were shutting down.
This is going to dictate how the rest of the interview goes. Did you like that movie?
I did. I thought it was different is what I said. Was I entertained by it? Yes. Were there some things that I thought were kind of bizarre choices, like the music cues
notes.
whenever the
Thank you.
Yeah,
okay, we can continue the interview.
I thought that was really weird, and then at the end, I saw that it was scored by Danny Elfman, and I was like, well, I guess that makes sense then.
Yeah, I mean, I love Danny
Sarah,
Elfman.
how many times did you plan on seeing that movie the opening weekend?
I bought tickets like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I returned all of them after my first viewing. I was so sad.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I saw it Thursday.
I did not like it. I thought
either.
that it was a subversion of expectations in not a great way. And of course, I'm a huge Captain Carter fan. So, spoiler alert.
They did her
When
dirty.
she dies within 5 minutes of being on the screen, I was like, why would they hype her up so much then? Like, what?
Well, but that was an alternate universe. So that was an alternate universe. So they can do kind of whatever they want now, and it doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah, exactly. They set it up for.
I mean, Marvel's smart. They know what they're doing.
But yeah,
that wasn't a Doctor Strange sequel. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree, and Marsha agreed too.
Yeah, it was, and like I said, it was very different from the first like Doctor Strange movie. And while there were some things I did not like I said, I was entertained by it, and there were some things that I did really like again, the zombie Doctor Strange I thought was super cool. It felt out of place. Like you said, it didn't feel like a Doctor Strange movie. It just felt like a fun, a fun romp.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and like I said in sorry, Sarah, one of my reviews, I said that, this movie, with it being a horror movie, it's definitely, it could be a lot of people's introduction to horror, but you might have a lot of horror fans that see it because it's Sam Raimi that then travel back into the MCU, kind of like with your, zombified molds and everything. I mean, there's people out there that might not know anything about Star Wars, not know anything about Marvel, but then they're going to see those zombified sculptures and they're going to be like, okay, that thing's pretty cool, and they're going to pick one up. So I mean, especially in October.
Yep, I get that. I get that all the time. Actually, it shows that they just buy it because they're like, "Oh, zombie."
Yeah.
But not even really knowing what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Art is supposed to make you feel something. Whatever that something is up to you. But if it makes you feel that, it's done its job.
Good on you. Yeah. So speaking of Groot, Anthony follows Josh Sundquist on Instagram.
Yeah.
And you actually have done something for Josh. Was that recently or like in the last couple of years?
Groot was a couple years ago, but I've actually done a few things for Josh over the years.
Well,
so
I have pictures of the Groot.
Yeah. So, yep, there's the Groot that was still work in progress, and then there should be some on his page as well of the finished thing. Yep, there you go. Yeah, that was a fun project because Josh's anatomy is obviously very different from what I'm typically used to creating for, and he can achieve really cool costumes, only having the one leg. That people with two legs cannot. So it's kind of fun, and he's really good about coming up with really fun ideas for his anatomy.
Anthony was showing me some of them. They're amazing.
Yeah, on his page, he's got a microscope little GIF there, and I did that one. Did that one for him as well. It's just like a costume of a microscope.
He used a Pixar lamp too, right?
Yeah. Well, so he did the Pixar lamp a few years before he met me, or he had that one commissioned. But what I actually did for him just I want to say it was earlier this year. He wanted a base, like he wanted the costume to kind of stand on its own. So I actually made him, basically it was just a giant lamp model, like a working, moving, like mechanical version of the Pixar lamp, but life size. And he basically just attached his lamp head to it, and it's a freestanding display now in his house.
Oh, that's awesome! Oh,
that's
my
cool.
gosh.
Yeah, because I've followed him for a while. I saw that Groot costume, and I was like, okay, that's hysterical. I mean, to be in the position that he's put in with the one leg, and then to have so much fun with the costumes that he does. And then I remember seeing the Groot, and then Sarah asked me earlier this week if I wanted to be part of the interview, and I looked at your page, and I was scrolling through, and I was like, oh, this is the guy that did the Groot costume. And then Sarah was like, wait, you know this guy? And I was like, yeah. So and I showed her some of the costumes he'd done, the Pixar lamp, the gingerbread cookie, the Dairy Queen Blizzard, the flamingo. I mean, just some of the stuff that he does, and it's so cool that he likes to have fun with it.
Oh yeah. Josh is a really cool guy, and I'm so glad that he found me, and I get to make cool costumes for him, because it also challenges me to come up with ways of doing things that work. For example, the microscope costume, he had to, basically what he does is he can walk around with it on, and then he'll get down on his I forget what pose he calls it, but he basically gets down on his forearms, and his forearms act as like what would be the microscope base. And then he bends his leg upwards, and the microscope lens straightens out, and the tray falls down from his back. And it's hard to describe, but if you look it up, it's really cool. So that costume had to work both standing up and upside down, and it had to work correctly. So coming up with a way to do that one was pretty challenging, but it came out phenomenal, I think. That was for his Halloween costume last year, I believe. And I've actually got I'm actually in the planning stages of his costume for this year for Halloween. So I can't tell you what it is, but there's something in the works.
That's awesome. Any clues?
That's really cool.
I don't want to give you any clues because he likes to reveal it.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, but
we'll get Josh on the show.
The clue I'll give you is that it's going to be pretty cool.
Okay. Ooh, I like it.
If you're part of it, I had no doubt that it would be.
Yeah, exactly. About the Groot costume, can you tell me what is that material that you used for his body there?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of a fun story. So, cut back to 2014 when the first Guardians movie came out. So here's a big letdown for you. I do not read comics. I have never read a comic book. So, but that also is really, I think, a blessing for me because I get to go into like Marvel movies with no expectations of what the story is going to be whatsoever.
I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah, I get to just enjoy the movie for what it is. And I like that. But comic books themselves just aren't my thing. I like movies. I like video games. But so anyways, so I saw the trailer for Guardians 1 and I saw Groot and I was like, okay, that character is really cool. So I kind of looked him up a little bit and I thought that I thought that it would be a cool costume to make, completely predicated on the thought that I could use train set scenery moss for the moss on the costume. So I was like, well, that would be pretty cool. So I kind of started thinking about how I would do it. And so for the movie, there was not a costume. It was all CGI. So me and one other creator, we were kind of the first two guys making them. And he went a different way with it. Like we had two completely different methods with it. And he did he sculpted it and made big like super heavy plaster molds for his. And I went with I used insulation foam, and I basically affixed that insulation foam to an undersuit to create the vines. And then over those insulation tubes, I basically I covered it with tissue paper that was dipped in. Well, actually, it was paper towels dipped in tacky glue that I put on there to create the kind of like bark texture.
Yeah.
And I kind of pioneered that method because again, that costume didn't exist before I made it. And I got mine done like a few days before the movie premiered, and I wore it to the premiere. And as you had mentioned in that text to me, that kind of went viral. And I've had literally like hundreds, if not thousands of people make their Groot costume based on how I did it, which is a super cool thing that somebody saw that and they're like, wow, that can be done. And then they did it. So then I made version 2. I want to say maybe a couple years later, where I switched to what you just showed in that photo is upholstery foam because I wanted to improve the method. So I figured upholstery foam would be better because it's more absorbent and it's a little more durable. So what I ended up doing is I ended up using the upholstery foam, cut it into tube shapes, which takes forever, by the way, because you have to snip because that foam starts out as a big slab, and I just cut a strip out of it and then round off the corners and make like half round pieces. And once that's done, I used paper towels again, dipped in latex because latex is a little more flexible. And then dipped those and then basically just laid them over the tubes and then kind of worked a little texture in there to simulate bark. And then it's all painted and the helmet is made of foam, like EVA foam.
And again, you paint it. It's all hand painted.
Yep.
Because I'm looking at the detailing and it's just amazing.
Yep.
I was really hoping you were going to say that it was made out of just Elmer's glue. You spent a whole bunch of time molding in your hand.
The method I came up with in 3rd grade. It's come back.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has been so much fun, Kaylin. I'm so glad we got to talk to you. Do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything that you're going to be at next?
Yep. So that's my handle across all social media platforms. As I mentioned before, I need to be more active on there. There's quite a bit of work that can be found on there. But I've got pictures on my phone that I just need to post.
Yeah.
So there's definitely new work that I need to post on there. I just haven't done it yet. But yeah, there's a plethora of content on there. My Etsy shop is also called Prop Customs, in case you're interested in that sort of thing. But yeah, currently working on a few projects. I've got a few things in mind that I want to make. I don't want to say what they are, just because things happen sometimes, and I'm not able to do a project. But
Okay.
there's a couple things I'm working on right now. But I will be at Chicago, at Fan Expo Chicago, the 7th through 10th of July. And then we will be at C2E2 as well. And I believe you said that's in August.
C2E2, August 5th through the 7th.
Yep. I just looked it up
August
as well.
5
That is
through
correct.
7.
So yeah, those are the shows that we've got booked so far. But there's always the possibility of booking more. But I love going to shows, and I love meeting people and talking about I talk about making things a lot with folks, because a lot of times folks maybe don't have an idea of how to do something, and I'm always more than happy to help with that. Same goes for if you want to email me or send me a message on any of the social media platforms or Etsy or anything like that. I'm always happy to help folks out there. So maybe if you're making something and you don't quite know how you would do something, then I'm more than happy to help if you just shoot me a message.
That's awesome. That is
Yeah,
so
that is really cool. And it's cool that you do, what you do with, like you said, you don't use 3D printers, because on one of our other shows, on this network, we had Frank from Frankly Built, which I'm sure you recognize from his Iron Man suits that he's been at.
Yeah.
We had him on a show, and he basically said he was the same way. He's open on all his socials, and if anybody's working on anything and needs helps or tips, he's more than willing to help them out. So that's cool that you do the same.
Yeah. And I think 3D printing is great. I just don't do it. I like to be a dinosaur and do things the old way. It just feels more personal. If the piece was made from nothing, with your hands, I just think there's something that's cool about that.
Yeah. My grandfather was a woodworker, and I feel the same way. There's something very special about it. Yeah.
And then that work gets to go to people's homes, which, and it brings them joy. And I just think that's a cool thing, a cool bonus for, what I do.
Yeah.
Are any of your upcoming projects Thor: Love and Thunder related?
Maybe. We'll see.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
That is really cool. Do you have any?
I'm very excited for that movie. Oh, sorry.
Oh gosh, no, I am too.
So the trailer, real quick side note, the trailer for that is probably one of my favorite trailers in the world, because just like the Guns N' Roses song.
Yep.
And he's kind of like, he's trying to figure out, where he belongs in the world with that song, and just like how it's scored is just done so well.
Mm-hmm. It's I think it's one of the better MCU trailers that we've gotten in a very long time.
Yeah.
I think that
because you still don't know what the movie's about.
Yep.
I mean, for the most part, you do, but you don't. At least for the second trailer, you obviously learn a little more when you see gore, but.
Yep. Christian Bale, Batman, coming to kill gods.
Angry Voldemort before he lost his nose.
Well, Kaylin, thank you so much. I hope that you've had just as good a time with us as we have had with you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too.
You too.
So, update for my multiverse of madness loving friends. I recently did try to rewatch it, and I made it about 2.5 minutes in. I just couldn't do it. You don't make America Chavez just another screamy teenager. She is fierce and smart and saucy and sassy. So, as Marsha would say, I'm just not a fan. I can't help it. Anyway, you might have recognized our third there, Mr. Anthony Lowry, or Anthman, as we like to call him in our group of friends. He's a regular on Agents of Field and Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. So thank you, Anthman, for helping me with that interview. You help me be brave. You complete me. Fun fact, Anthony's moms were actually part of my inspiration to begin my fertility journey this past February. Surprise if any of my friends are watching this and didn't know that. But his moms are just a sweet couple and they raised a good human being. Don't tell Anthony I said that. So they just kind of helped me realize my potential in, that it was possible to choose motherhood as a gay woman. So thank you, Anthony's moms. Anywho, this next interview is very near and dear to my heart. And after this next segment, we're going to be doing the giveaway, which is for this Jen Bartel cover of DC Pride #1 last year. It's gorgeous. It's Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. Absolutely beautiful. They are currently dating in DC Comics. How about that? So don't miss out. Make sure you're here in about 20 minutes so that you have a chance to win that. So this next interview, we talk about a lot of the causes that I care about, which I've already talked about so far, so I won't beat a dead horse. But I would like to add that LGBTQ plus homelessness is a silent pandemic that no one really talks or hears much about. In the US alone, there are 1.6 million displaced kids every year, nearly half of which identify as somewhere on the LGBTQ spectrum. So like I said, it's a pandemic, which means this does not just happen in the United States. It is a global issue. And there are a ton of organizations that are dedicated to fighting for our kids who need help and housing. But most of all, they need love and identity and purpose. So some of those organizations are the Trevor Project, which is thetrevorproject.org, True Colors United, or truecolorsunited.org. These are all .orgs. And we do actually have a local nonprofit here in San Antonio that is also putting in the work. They're amazing. They're called thriveyouthcenter.org. So dollar bills are important, pennies are important, but remember, so is your time. If you have a few extra hours that you're willing to donate each week or month or each year, just reach out to your local nonprofits and ask them where they need help. Tell them that you're willing to help. It really does make a difference. That said, our next guest, Mr. Josh Trujillo, is a true LGBTQ plus warrior icon within the comics industry. He's incredible. He's written on comics like Hulkling and Wiccan, who have been a staple in gay comics for almost 15 years now. Congrats, Hulkling and Wiccan. Well, they're they're going through it right now, but I think they'll be okay in the end. Either way, it's a huge accomplishment, and they do have a new series out this month written by Josh. Josh also introduced the world to Aaron Fischer last year. Aaron Fischer is our first gay Captain America iteration of Captain America. He's really, really cute, and we talk about him a lot in this episode. I think you'll really enjoy it. Josh has also written for Rick and Morty. Alex, if you're still listening, you owe a lot of your laughter to this guy. Josh is also about to tackle Blue Beetle with DC Comics. So he is just an all-around super talented dude. He's a big sweetheart. He's also a queer history buff like my friend Trevor. So naturally, I love the guy. So without any further ado, I give you our interview with Mr. Josh Trujillo. So, hey everybody, welcome to the Nerd Emporium's June extravaganza. Happy Pride Month, everybody. Happy Pride Month, Josh.
Happy Pride.
Yes, it's so wonderful. I'm I am not broadcasting, but I am doing this interview from Disneyland in Anaheim, California, and everything is just to the hilt pride, and it makes my gay little heart so happy. I love it. I've never been here during Pride Month before, so it's just everything is rainbows, and I really enjoy it. So we are here with Joshua Trujillo. He most recently the project that I got really pumped about was the United States of Captain America. Was it last year already?
Yeah, last year.
Good grief. Time flies, guys. He introduced, with Christopher Cantwell, he introduced the character of Aaron Fischer, who captured my heart immediately. And I would love to talk to you about Aaron and hear about that. Was it something that you pitched to Marvel, or was it an idea that you just got to take and run with?
So Christopher had the idea of the miniseries, which is Captain America,
Nice.
Sam Wilson, Captain America, was it Bucky Barnes, Captain America, the whole gang goes across the country, and along the way they meet these other characters who identify as Captain America, who've taken on the mantle, who wield a shield, and taken all the responsibility and iconography with it. So I was approached that they wanted to do a queer Captain America character, and so I worked with my editor Alana Smith, who was excellent, and my artist Jan Bazaldua, and basically we kind of jammed on a concept. We knew a couple of things about Aaron from the script that Christopher wrote that we modified a little bit, but he's a runaway. He lives on the rails. He is a little bit of a little tough boy, a little bit of a pretty boy, and that's kind of all we had. So from there, we built out some thoughts about what does this character really, what do they look like? I was kind of inspired by Brooklyn streetwear, and I was noticing, I lived in Brooklyn for a minute, and I was noticing overalls were making a comeback. And I think of overalls and I think of Mamma Mia, but
yes.
I think both readings are valid. So I wanted something that was kind of elevated in fashion, but also very accessible, because this is a character that doesn't have a lot of resources. He sure doesn't have a super suit. And I wanted something that people who liked Aaron could maybe cosplay as a little bit easy. And Jan really took that idea and just ran with it. And that's kind of how we got the kind of gutter punk that we got, because we wanted someone with a little more edge, right? I think there are a lot of shinier, happier queer characters in comics, and that's amazing. And I get to write some of them, but I wanted someone who had a little more grit. And since he is a runaway, I wanted to address that in a more realistic sense, meaning that we could talk about LGBT youth homelessness, and we could talk about some of the issues surrounding that alongside celebrating Captain America's, 80th anniversary last year. So all these ideas kind of came into a pot, and Aaron Fischer was born. So, our lovable runaway from Missouri, and I got to write his debut story, and then he was in the rest of the United States of Captain America miniseries, and he just recently popped up in Alligator Loki. I don't know if you've had a chance to check that out, but he's one of the young heroes who, spoiler alert, they steal Alligator Loki from the zoo.
That's awesome.
It's unclear whether this was Alligator Loki's doing or not, but we'll address it someday, I bet.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that yet. So
it's the cutest thing.
Is it? Oh, I'll have to look it up. So he popped up in that. What is next? Will we see him again soon, do you think, for Pride Month? Or
he is in a special variant cover for Pride this year. Nice. So he's on the cover of Captain America, the Steve Rogers edition. He's on the main cover of that for the variant. And that's
the Sentinel of Liberty?
Yes. I always forget, it's Sentinel of Liberty and then something of truth. But
yes. Symbol of truth.
Luciano Vecchio does the drawing, and it's incredible. And he just he has a gift for drawing Aaron. And so beyond that, I don't have any advanced information. I'm always gunning for more Aaron Fischer stories.
Yeah.
It's Pride Month, so keep your eyes peeled, I'd say.
Yeah.
Beyond that, crossed.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Do they always contact you to write him?
I hope
and
so.
Is that how it's going to be? Yeah. Well, yeah. As far as you know, right?
Alyssa Wong is one of the writers of the United States of Captain America, and she created Ariel Abgayani. And Ariel and Aaron, as established in the miniseries, are like BFFs now. So they're both in Alligator Loki. And I know that both of us have this blood pact that whenever one appears, the other has to show up too. So I hope to see more of this duo kind of pop into the Marvel universe. I always think of him as being like tough, but then when he's paired with Ariel, it's like, oh wait, she's the tough one. He's the pretty.
Well, we're tough when we need to be, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
when we feel safe around people, we let that down a little bit. That's so sweet. I'm so excited to read more about him. We were talking last week, the girls on my other podcast, Nerdy Girls After Dark. We were talking about we were talking about what it means to be a nerd, because it looks different to everybody. And one of the things that I said made me a nerd was politics and activism, because I am obsessed with people being treated the same all across the board, no matter who you are. So I wanted to know from you, what is it that makes you a nerd? And do you have any, I would say, unconventional fandoms?
Okay.
Growing
up, it was always the what are now super mainstream, right? Like Star Wars or comic books, or I was a little gay boy. I am a little gay boy, and I loved The Wizard of Oz from basically the moment I opened my eyes. And so I had all these collectible Wizard of Oz porcelain plates that you could buy at the Hallmark store. And my grandmas would buy them for me and spoil me rotten with these. I still have them. They're worthless, but they mean everything, right? So I get into like weird, beyond that, I get into very niche fandoms sometimes. Let's see, what are some nerdy things I nerd out about?
I know you've written for video games, right?
Yeah, definitely Nintendo is a big thing for me. Really anything Nintendo tells me to buy, I'm like, okay, well, you're the boss. So, beyond that, just nerdy about my dogs. I'm nerdy about history, queer history in particular. I love to poke my head out and learn about some of these figures. I've done some comics with an artist, Levi Hastings, and some others that kind of touch on queer history. And we have a big book coming out next year about the American Revolutionary War and some of the queer real life figures who existed back then. So I love that, I love to help people find themselves in history, especially queer people, because I think there's this myth or misunderstanding that we didn't exist until Stonewall happened.
Yep.
And it's no, you don't understand. We've always been there. We've sometimes lacked the language or the freedom to describe ourselves. But I think that's an ongoing project for me. Is something that's very important, is to look at historical periods that are everyone knows the American Revolutionary War, but no one knows anything about the queer people who were a part of it.
Everything I feel like recently it focuses on Stonewall, and then the way that the civil rights movement happened after that. Our civil rights movement happened after that. That is a fascinating. Do you want to write about that one day?
Oh, the Revolutionary War book is coming. It'll be out in the spring, and I'll come back and we'll talk about it. We'll have cocktails. We'll do the whole thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. What's it called? Can you say?
Currently it's titled Washington's Gay General. Baron von Steuben, that's the name of the gay general. Queer Legends and Loves of the American Revolutionary War. So it kind of encapsulates not just this gay general who served under George Washington, who was very important to the Revolutionary War, but
Mhm.
also this whole like treasure trove of lesbians and non-binary figures, gay men, just like the whole kit and caboodle. And like it's just amazing to like learn about these people, and also like,
Mhm.
how have I not heard of these people before? Like that's
That
the like interesting thing. The people who write this history want to write it incomplete sometimes.
Yep, it's an interesting point, because I do feel like we just didn't get the full education, like
Yeah.
in Texas. So I'm from Texas, and I grew up with Texas history, and San Antonio especially has a very rich history, and so I know all about the Texas Revolution and the American Revolution, but I don't know anything about what makes me me, and I just feel a little bit robbed.
Yeah. No, I think that's like exactly it, right? Is like, I think maybe people closer to our age or older, there wasn't a lot of stuff in kind of pop culture, kind of touching on queer identities. And I certainly spent a lot of my time trying to figure out what I was, what that meant, if it was even safe or good or whatever to do it. And I think that there's still like, there's so many people out there now who still struggle with those things.
Yep.
But being in a position, I'll say, to create some of that content in the comics or in the video games I do, like to create stories for younger readers that have queer characters in them, is like, I don't know, it like feels like such a gift that I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're talking about like Wiccan and Hulkling or what, you know what I mean? We're talking about like super silly superhero characters, but like they really mean something to people. And like Hulkling and Wiccan in particular, like I was like in my late teens when they debuted, and it was like, I could see color for the first time. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, they changed everything for gay readers.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important. I mean, we talk so much about, and I say I just mean like, you hear a lot of buzzwords, not like visibility and representation in media, and you hear it a lot, but I don't want it to lose its impact, because it's so important to be able to see someone that you identify with, someone that you see yourself in literature, in media, especially a hero. I mean, it's just it's I think I'm glad that you are putting these stories out there, because I think of like the little Sarahs or the little Joshes, that the things that we wish we had when we were little, so
no, it's crazy. And even today, the day we're recording this, there's this app game called Contest of Champions through Marvel.
Yeah.
And it's like a little fighting game, but they just announced that Wiccan and Hulkling are playable characters in there, and that's the first time they've ever appeared in anything like that. And so, I mean, it's like a Pride Month. I see everyone on my Twitter feed like, I'm downloading this game right away, and it's like, yeah, me too. Like, are you kidding? Like, gay representation in like a mainstream game is like huge. Like, take my money, please. Like, I'll play.
So can I ask, if you can't answer this question, just feel free to let me know. But I did want to talk a little bit about the Chapek, because I have this weird like, I want to be so excited to buy my rainbow Marvel shirt and my rainbow Disney stuff. There is the reality that Disney still donates millions of dollars to anti-LGBTQ politicians and organizations. And so it's still a problem that needs to be called out and talked about, and hopefully put an end to that sort of bigotry. But if you don't want to talk about that,
no, I think it's really, I don't have a clear answer, but I will say that like, I have a lot of like familiarity with Disney. I get to do stuff for Marvel now, and that's like huge. And I used to work at Disneyland a million years ago when I was in right out of high school. I worked on the Splash Mountain ride and the Winnie the Pooh ride, and I dressed in my suspenders. And told people to bounce on into their beehives. And, I've had a lot of history with the company, and it really breaks my heart to see them do this. And we have to remember that like all of our power comes from people and not corporations. And it's really, a company that can do a Pride Month special on one hand, which is really valuable and important to queer readers for like comics. And then the other hand, do some of that political stuff is like, oh, I don't know what to make of it. And it's like, it's unfair because these are, we're getting queer representation in Star Wars for the first time. We're getting queer representation in Marvel and these movies coming out soon, hopefully. And like we're making so many strides in that positive direction. But there's all this there's this corporate element, right? That's kind of like very conservative and very like dollar obsessed. And it sucks. I wish I had an answer. My answer is it's awful. And it's nice to be able to tell the stories that we're able to tell. I've never had any interruptions or issues with that on the Marvel editorial side. And I'm proud of the work we do. And, they let me write stories. We're hoping we can smooch all the time. And they're never like, this is too many kisses or whatever. You know what I mean? more. So there are good people working inside of the ship,
Yes.
I'm optimistic that clearer heads will prevail. Eventually.
Eventually. Yeah. That was beautiful and very eloquent. Awesome. Thank you for that answer. Thank you for that honesty too. I did want to ask you. So I've been following you on social media for a while now, and I have to ask you, just for my own peace of mind, what does your handle mean? Where does it come from?
So on social media, I am Lost His Keys Man. And so this comes from when I was in like 4th grade. I was watching this TV show about the internet because there was so little internet back then that you could watch a news magazine every week, and it'll tell you like what's happening on the internet. And I didn't have the internet, so I always knew that this was like meant to be me and the internet. So they were talking about web comics, and these were web comics of like the early 90s. And so there was one called Too Much Coffee Man. And as a kid, I thought this was the most hilarious, clever thing I'd ever heard in my entire life. Like I was up late at night thinking about like, how could I ever come up with something that good? And so I came up with Lost His Keys Man, where his whole gimmick is he can't find his keys, right? So that's always kind of stuck with me. I've been doodling him for like forever now.
That's funny.
And so he's me and I'm him. And there's another Josh Trujillo out there who's a very talented photographer, and he has @Josh Trujillo. But I have joshtrujillo.com. So sometimes I get emails about photography work, and sometimes he gets emails about comic work, and we have to just like.
Oh, that's funny. So the Aaron Fischer, is he based on, I know you answered this a little bit already, but is he based on anyone you personally know?
Well, I can tell you that the name Aaron Fischer is a Christopher Cantwell creation, and it's named after childhood friends of his. But I don't think the character is not inspired after anyone in particular, at least not intentionally. There have definitely been more than a few people who like Halloween last year were like, I'm Aaron Fischer for Halloween. And I'm like, you look just like Aaron Fischer. Like you are, if you were to tell me that you were the inspiration for this character, I would believe you and I created the character. So I think he's just a combination of things. But
because you yourself have been the inspiration for a character, right?
Oh, that's right. Yes, because my friend Sina Grace, who was the Iceman creator for a number of years, he has a book called Rockstar and Soft Boy. And he is Rockstar. It's like a fictionalized take on queer friendship. And then I am Soft Boy because I am a soft boy. And I wear it with pride.
I love that you touched your heart when you said soft boy.
It's who I am. You can't fight it.
I am a soft girl, so I feel you. Well, Josh, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you're a busy guy. Tell us what you have upcoming. Anything you want to plug? I know Blue Beetle is.
So Hulkling and Wiccan goes into print. I think it's on June 15th is when you'll see it in stores, just in time for Pride. There's a special announcement at the end of Hulkling and Wiccan in the print edition. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Okay. And then beyond that, I have a story in Batman Urban Legends number 16. It's about Alfred, and it features my favorite Batman villain, and no one would ever guess who it is. But unless you know me, and then you're like, oh, Josh, did you really have to? I'm like, yes, I did. And then Blue Beetle is coming from DC Comics at the end of the year. Probably November, December. We're still figuring it out, to be honest. But we're going to have a big announcement for it in San Diego Comic-Con in July. Oh my gosh, awesome. The summer is creeping up on us, isn't it?
Yes, it's almost next month.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So those are the big things, and hopefully some surprises along the way. And hopefully a lot more Aaron Fischer,
Yes.
Keep tweeting.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I will. Well, I deactivated my Twitter after.
Then you're good. You're smart. Don't do it.
Okay. Oh man, this was such a pleasure talking to you, Josh. Thank you so much again.
No, thank you for having me and for taking time away from your magical vacation.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. So that was Mr. Josh Trujillo, such a delightful human being. Be sure you subscribe to the new Hulkling and Wiccan run to support our friend, Mr. Trujillo. Be sure to buy up all of the Aaron Fischer comics you can find. If you need help finding some, I know a girl who can help you. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, we have our big giveaway. This is Jen Bartel's 2021 DC Pride #1 cover. It's gorgeous. It's Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. It's just beautiful. Who doesn't want this? And we've got our winner, actually, guys. I had a third party send me a number, and that number corresponded with a comment from Miss Jaylyn Schubauer. Yay! Thank you, Jaylyn, for tuning in and supporting the show. I really appreciate you and your friendship. You're just a good human being. So congratulations. I will send you your comic and add it to your collection. I know that you're starting to get into comics this year, which is so exciting. One of us. So you've got one more. Hooray! So we've got one more segment for you all. Thank you for sticking with us for this 2-hour celebration Pride episode. We are actually right on time, and I am amazed. Remember, this next bit is not safe for work, but it is hilarious, so you are going to love it. Jaylyn inserts the lizard cackling gif. I love that thing so much. So this next bit is with Miss Maya Kane, Into the Mayaverse on Instagram. She is part of our Nerdy Girls After Dark podcast, and so is Miss Jaylyn, actually. We're all representing tonight. I love it. But this segment is a spicy question quick fire with Maya Kane, and I'm not going to spoil any more of it, but just know that it is not safe for work. Not safe for kiddos, but enjoy this, laugh, cheers. Here we go. Okay. Hi, Maya.
Hey, Sarah.
We're about to have a bunch of fun. I don't know. I don't think this will take very long. We're going to be doing some quick fire, spicy questions. It's the kind of content you can expect. on our other podcast. Maya, would you like to tell our folks what it is?
Yeah, so it is called Nerdy Girls After Dark, where we're 4 girls very into nerdy things, whatever that may be. Spans a whole bunch of different topics, but we get into a lot of spicy questions. And, nerdy girls can be spicy, so that's what we look for.
The spiciest, even.
Right.
Speaking of spicy, parents, I would say this next bit is PG-13. We are going to be playing some FMK, which stands for frolic, roll in the hay, marry or kill. And then we also have some would you rathers. It's just a bunch of spicy MCU questions. It's going to be fun. Should we just get into it, Maya?
We should.
Okay.
You go first.
Yeah. Okay. We're just going to start into it right off the bat. Maya, which female MCU character needs to invest in a vibrator the most? Who needs to unwind?
It's either Nebula or Mantis. I'm leaning towards Nebula. She's just always on edge. Like, girl, just relax.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. She needs to have some fun. Even the paper football.
Right.
A little bit. I was thinking maybe Eleanor Bishop.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she needs to.
That's a great pick.
She needs to get laid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
I'm
so afraid.
Oh man. Okay. How many shots of tequila would you have to hammer Sharon Carter?
Sharon Carter. If this was Peggy Carter, that would be 0 shots of tequila. Sharon Carter, I would go probably 4 or 5. Probably 4 or 5 shots. I'd need to be 3 sheets to the wind, probably.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like there's nothing really spicy about her.
No.
I just feel like it's giving American Girl, nothing like she's no Cena by any means, but
like the dolls.
American Girl
like
she's too cookie cutter for me.
Yep.
She's kind of like an MCU NPC. Don't tell Alex I said that.
She is. Okay, you ready for this one? Would you rather have an average evening alone with Vision or spend an unforgettable 7 minutes in heaven with Bucky?
Oh, that is so tough. You know what? I'm going to have to say unforgettable 7 minutes with Bucky. I love my Vision, but, I'm not trying to ponder whatever types of questions White Vision was in WandaVision. I don't know. I just feel like we'll have a bunch of intellectual conversations, and I'm not trying to have that. So, Bucky. Okay, here. Let me ask you a question.
Okay. Oh, no.
Natasha and Maria Hill go to jail.
Oh, God.
Who's doming and who's subbing?
That is a great question. I didn't even think about the answer to that. God, doming and subbing. They're both they're both tops, don't you think?
Yeah.
Natasha and Maria. Just because I think Maria could, she's always in like the director's chair all the time. So I think she would like somebody else to take control. So I'm going to say Natasha is doming.
Okay.
And Maria's subbing.
That would have been my answer too.
I want to see that, by the way. Just FYI. Okay. Oh, is it my turn?
No, you gotta read fanfic. Wattpad endorsement. Anyway.
What am I doing? Why am I not writing fanfic? I don't know. Ooh. Okay. Would you rather have saggy boobies for a day or make out with Hayward for 5 minutes?
Absolutely saggy boobies for a day.
Yes! Right answer. Yep. Hayward, that guy.
Right. Okay, this is interesting. Which Avenger is best with their fingers?
See, I do this thing where I think of questions, but I don't think of the answers. So, I kind of feel like Scott Lang because because he's got the thief fingers. He's a nimble. He knows how to. my hand motions.
Sticky fingers, because that's the name for a thief. But anyway.
Oh yes. Ooh, that would be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just because he knows how to pick a lock, he knows how to crack a safe. I think.
Yeah.
Right. Frolic, marry, or kill. Steve, Bucky as the Winter Soldier, or Sam.
Whew, okay.
FMK.
I hope I don't get my black card taken away from this. I would definitely frolic with Bucky, marry Steve, and kill Sam. I know it's horrible to say. It's horrible to say. Well, you know what? Sam would be a good husband, but I'm just not attracted to Sam the same way, Okay, before the Buzz Lightyear red carpet, it would have been a different story. But we're post Lightyear, so I gotta marry Steve. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you feel like that might change after Captain America 4?
Probably, yes.
Okay. So there's hope. There's hope for Sam.
Okay. Okay, Frolic, marry, kill. Hela, Malekith, or Draco?
God, what is wrong with me? Frolic. I hate Dracov, so kill right away Dracov.
Yeah.
Period. Sure. It sounds like he has terrible breath. First of all, and he has no personal bubble. So kill Dracov, marry Hela. I feel like that's the kind of crazy that I would put up with. And she's gorgeous. So Hela. And I guess Frolic with Malekith.
The dark elf. All right.
Gross. I mean, I don't know. Little elf sounds fun, right? Yeah. Oh, gross.
Oh my god.
Okay. Oh, is it my turn? You and your beau, your partner, get to pick one of the original 6 Avengers as your third to join y'all for a fun night. Who are you picking?
You know what? I'm going to go with Nat. I'm going to go with Nat because she's the only woman. And 2, I don't know how deep I can go into my reasoning behind that. I think it'll be easier for me if another woman is there. So I would say Nat. And she's gorgeous. And yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'm a little tongue-tied. That was surprising. Okay, but obviously I can get behind that. Yes.
Yes. All righty. Oh, this is a great question. Who had to fake more orgasms, you or Natasha?
Oh, I didn't get to that question first. No. Oh, this is depressing. Just because the nature of oh God, my nieces and nephews are to watch this.
I was going to say you probably don't have to fake too many.
Well, not anymore. No, now that I'm out, no, not anymore. But back when I was dating men, no offense, men, y'all are lovely. Some of y'all. I don't know. She's been on hundreds of missions. Maybe Natasha. I didn't date too many guys, so probably Natasha. Right?
Gotcha. She's good at acting.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I want to get to this one before you do. You have 15 seconds to leave a dirty voicemail for an Avenger of your choice. Go.
Okay. I feel very conflicted because I want to say Vision.
Okay.
But I feel like he's too we see him have more emotions, but he's so logical that it's like, will he even be able to, feel the spice, whatever I'm translating? So I would say Bucky, just cause.
Okay. What would go on the voicemail?
Oh, I can't see this on this episode. Something around that metal arm around my neck. Just
Ooh, that's spicy.
I totally regret saying this one. But yeah, especially the vibranium one. Yeah, that's what I'll say. Next question. Okay. Frolic, Mary, Kill. Hope Van Dyne, Nebula, Wanda.
Ooh. Mary Wanda. Let me clarify. Mary Wanda pre-Multiverse of Madness before before she lost it. Frolic with Nebula and Kill Hope Van Dyne.
Okay. That would probably be my same answer too.
Okay. Let's do one last one for each of us. You get a one-night stand with anyone in the MCU, but you never talk with them again afterwards. So choose carefully who you going with.
Never have to talk to them again. You know what? It's going to be probably Icarus.
Oh, that's a solid choice.
Yes, because it's like, all right, whatever. I don't have to talk to you again, but you're good enough for the moment. So
yes, that's like the perfect choice. Wow, well done. Very nice. And Eternals, it's looking like there are multiple versions of them, so he'll probably come back, but it's technically a different one.
Okay.
So you can still. Oh, that was good.
You see what I did there?
Yes, nicely done.
Okay, so where is this one? Okay. Who in the MCU has the biggest weapon?
I feel like Chris Evans already spoiled this one for us. When was that? Was that last year?
Are you thinking actor or character?
Oh, you pick. I don't know. Character?
Well, tell both.
Okay.
I didn't know Chris Evans spoiled this.
Oh, girl, yes.
You tell.
I will have to send you some pictures. He shared from his phone reel. He was screen recording, and he was. I know it was so sad, but it was around November, like right before voting, and so he used it to be like, okay, now that y'all are paying attention, go vote. So good for him for using such a bummer of a thing to motivate people. And it was great motivation, I will tell you. So I think Chris Evans might be packing, or Idris Elba. I feel like Idris Elba.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right?
Heimdall, okay.
Heimdall in the MCU, and then Chris Evans outside.
Okay.
Actor.
I would say Reed Richards. He may not have it, but it can be.
Oh my gosh, that was perfect. Okay, well this was fun. I feel like the saggy boobies answer was the correct answer because Hayward. Oh man, if y'all haven't seen WandaVision in a minute, I just rewatched some of those scenes right before I saw Multiverse of Madness, and that guy is just as irritating a year later. And he is kind of cute, so it's even more annoying.
I know. I'm like, ugh.
Irritating. So anyway, Maya, tell us where can people find Nerdy Girls After Dark and what time?
Yeah, so Nerdy Girls After Dark, Thursdays at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. But we also are on Instagram at Nerdy Girls After Dark. And you can find me at Into the Mayaverse on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok is starting to be my main form of social media.
Nice.
So
yeah, you went viral recently, didn't you?
I did. And it's just so funny that out of all the videos that I have on there, that's the one. Yeah.
The internet is weird.
On TikTok. I'm sure we gotta get some TikToks for Nerdy Girls After Dark.
We do. That's probably the one place we should be.
Right.
I feel like I have no idea what's going on over there. You can do it. I would fully, yes. If you want to help out on TikTok, I truly have no idea. My niece tried to explain it to me while we were at Disney, and I gave up. I had to give up. I've never
Very
felt
different,
older.
but once you get the groove of it, it's kind of addicting. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to try it then. Well, Maya, thank you so much. Maybe we can do this again sometime.
For sure. I love adding spice.
Any spice.
Nerdy.
Any and all spice. Give me all the spice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you next Thursday
Yes.
on Nerdy Girls After Dark. Thank you so much, Maya.
Right. See ya.
See ya. That was some of the most awkward fun I have had in a long time. Besides last night. Last night's Nerdy Girls After Dark episode was really funny. We did a lot of the same thing. It's so good. You need to go check out that episode on Nerd Life Network on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, sign up for those alerts. On that note, we will see you next month. Save the date for Friday, July 29th for the Nerd Emporium's July Extravaganza episode. We will be talking with her name is Stephanie Williams. She's the current writer of Nubia, Queen of the Amazons for DC Comics. She's amazing. So we're going to be talking with her. And then we also have a bunch of other special guests, like usual, a bunch of special guests that we're going to be interviewing and talking with. And I am sure Marsha will return if we are all very nice to her and leave her lots of nice comments. So until then, tune in on Sundays for Babu's Frickin' Podcast, Mondays for Earth's Mightiest Weirdos, Tuesdays, Comics in Cinema, Wednesdays for Agents of Field, Thursdays, Nerdy Girls After Dark. Thank you for sticking with us for this 2-hour Pride celebration episode. You guys are amazing. Congratulations to Jaylyn on your new comic. Happy Friday, guys. Happy Thor Love and Thunder premiere. Happy Ms. Marvel finale. And until next time, nerds, Excelsior. Peace out.